right, shall we start?
Sure, that's great.
All
Okay,
right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Risk Industry Colloquia today. We have with us Doris Bentley, who is the Talent Management Specialist at Centrepoint Learning. And we look forward to your talk today, Doris. Over to you whenever you're ready.
great. Thank you. And good morning, everyone, or afternoon. I'm on the West Coast, so it's afternoon where you are. So I hope your day is off to a great start. So thanks for that introduction, Maya. I'm delighted to be here and thrilled to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is how we can build the skills that really make a difference in our careers. So I hope you'll leave today with a few new ideas to put into action. Whether you're a student exploring your path, an early career professional looking to grow, or a faculty member guiding the next generation of talent, you're here because you care about what it takes to succeed in the insurance industry today and tomorrow. And the industry is evolving, as you all know, very quickly. What used to set professionals apart is no longer enough. So today, success depends on a different kind of edge, one built not just on technical knowledge, but on adaptability, communication, and the ability to navigate change. In my recent research with industry leaders, executives, and practitioners, a few clear themes have emerged. The future belongs to those who intentionally build the right skills starting early. So that's what we're here to talk about, how to prepare for what's ahead and how to build meaningful, resilient careers in an industry that plays such a vital role in our economy and our communities. So here's what we'll explore. First, I'll share a quick overview of trends that are shaping the insurance industry today and what that means for career opportunities. Then we'll look at the essential skills that stand out across the board, no matter what part of the industry you're aiming for. From there, I'll outline some simple practical steps that students and your early career professionals can take now to get launched and get ahead. And we'll wrap up with ways to stay relevant and resilient in a fast-changing world of work. So let's dive in. Here's what's shaping the industry and what this means for your career. Like many industries, Canadian insurers are facing major shifts. They're working to meet changing client needs, deliver strong returns, and navigate a fast-moving landscape shaped by climate risk, technology, market volatility, regulation, and global uncertainty. So it's a lot. So one of the key trends that we're seeing are demographic shifts. The industry's long been known for stability and lifelong careers, which may be a reason why some of you are very much attracted to it. But a wave of retirements is now creating talent gaps and opportunities. So as seasoned professionals leave the industry, insurers need fresh talent with future-ready skills. So even if hiring slows temporarily in some firms, there's steady demand for grads and junior professionals, especially in entry-level claims and operations roles. This generational turnover makes now a smart time to enter the field, contribute early, and grow with it. Insurers are also feeling pressure in key skill areas. While technology may help fill some gaps, business growth and complexity are driving the need for talent. So here's what this looks like. In highest demand, we see tech, underwriting, and claims opportunities. And common entry points for new grads and junior professionals are evident in claims and operations. Experienced hires are most needed in loss control, product management, actuarial, and accounting. And the hardest to fill roles are actuarial, executive level, and analytics roles. So there's lots of opportunities there. And the third industry trend that we're seeing, of course, is technology. AI and technology from back end to front line. So as we all know, AI is no longer just for chatbots. It's transforming claims automation, fraud detection, underwriting, and even regulatory compliance. Estimates suggest that AI could improve productivity and reduce costs in insurance by nearly 40%. But many insurers still rely on outdated systems that could slow them down. And that's why digital transformation is now essential, and early career professionals have a key role to play in driving it. So we're also seeing more direct-to-consumer models in insurance, which you've probably seen yourself, like buying travel or auto insurance online. And that shift creates the demand for tech-savvy professionals who can improve both the digital experience and operational efficiency. And then there's regulation and resilience. So regulatory change is constant in insurance, and staying ahead of it builds resilience. One example is the new Global Insurance Capital Standard, or ICS, which aims to align how international insurers manage capital and risk. And understanding this landscape will be key for future leaders. So these trends aren't just reshaping the industry, they're shaping the kinds of skills and mindsets that insurance professionals will need next. And that's where you come in. So before I dive into the actual skills part of it, let's set the stage with where your skills can take you. So it's just to create a common understanding here. Insurance is a broad and diverse industry with many ways to start and grow your career. So you don't need to have it all figured out on day one, and people rarely do. Most professionals evolve their path over time. So let's take a look at a few of the key entry points and pathways. Brokerage is relationship focused and fast paced. Brokers work between clients and insurance companies, as you know. They ensure policies are competitive and comprehensive and help clients navigate the claims process. You might start with a local brokerage managing all aspects of client accounts, or join a national firm where you could begin as an assistant or marketing coordinator and later move into business development. There are personal lines like home, travel, and health, which are a common starting point and a great place to build technical fundamentals. Commercial lines, which are bigger, offer room for specialization and career growth. Brokerage work is client-facing and highly relational, so communication skills, both verbal and written, are essential, as is the ability to negotiate with underwriters and represent your clients fairly. So I just want to give also a reality check on brokerage. Success in it isn't just about selling, it's about deep technical knowledge. So many start in assistant roles and learn the business from the ground up with strong training support from larger firms. So underwriting is analytical and risk-oriented, and underwriters assess risk, determine terms, and set conditions for insurance policies. And this work tends to attract those who are analytical and detail-oriented. Unlike brokerage, underwriting is often more independent and desk-based, less client interaction, and more data and decision-making. So gaining experience in both brokerage and underwriting can be a powerful combination for long-term success. And claims, fast-moving and broad-ranging. And many insurance professionals begin in claims, especially in auto or accident benefits, and then move into residential, commercial property, or liability. Claims roles are often divided into two functions: adjusters, who are on the ground working directly with clients and managing the daily progress of claims, and examiners, who are office-based, working behind the scenes on coverage decisions, often on more specialized claims. It's challenging work. You're often helping people through tough situations, but it's also rewarding and foundational. So claims experience can open doors to brokerage or underwriting roles. So you'll need a license to be a claims adjuster, but you can start on the administrative side while earning credentials and gaining exposure. And then there's actuarial work, which is deeply analytical. So the actuaries are the number crunchers of the industry who analyze the financial costs of risk and uncertainty. They use mathematics, statistics, and financial theory to assess the risk of potential events, set rates, and help businesses develop policies that minimize the cost of that risk. So if you're mathematically inclined, this is a high-demand, high-skill pathway, and it is one with a defined university-to-industry pathway after graduation. And then there's operations, which is really the behind-the-scenes efficiency upon which all insurers depend. Operations roles focus on improving how the business runs faster, smarter, and more efficiently. And entry-level roles often involve administration, data management, or support functions. So some use operations as a launch pad into areas like claims or underwriting, while others build deep expertise in process improvement or analytics. So then we have specialization, where the industry gets interesting. And over time, most professionals develop expertise in a sector or a product line. So here's a list, which is just a snapshot of a few of the specialties that are available in insurance. So over time, you may be naturally drawn to one of these, or they may pique your interest from the get-go. One of them that I just want to kind of double click on here is cyber, which is halfway down that list. Cyber is one of the fastest growing areas in Canada and globally, especially in large enterprise risk. So it's one of the greatest uninsured risks in the world. So few professionals specialize in cyber claims right now, so there is opportunity there if it's the right fit for you. The work is dynamic and collaborative. Cyber claims often involve lawyers and tech experts. And your role there is more like a project manager, guiding the client through a complex process with communication, problem solving, and coordination at the core. So as you can see here, there's no one size fits all path in insurance. Whether you thrive on client interaction, love solving problems, prefer working independently, or are drawn to numbers and data, there is a place for you here. So your strengths and your interests really are what will shape your path, and the right skills with that will help you move forward. So let's take a look at this more closely. Across the many career paths in insurance, certain core skills consistently stand out. And these are the skills that help you succeed in a fast-changing, client-focused industry where judgment, learning, and communication all matter. So let's take a look more closely. Critical thinking and problem solving are essential. You'll start building this in your risk management courses, but it shows up in every role. So in underwriting, it's about analyzing risk and making sound decisions based on what you see. In claims, it's about determining what happened, who's responsible, and how the policy applies. Every claim is unique and there's no one size fits all. So the ability to stand back, analyze, ask questions, and see more than one possible path, that's critical thinking. And it's not just about what the book says and what the rules are. Often it's about interpreting policy language in complex real-world situations. And that's what makes the work exciting and why insurance offers endless opportunities to learn. Insurance is evolving with tech, and so must you. AI and analytics are reshaping how insurers assess risk, serve clients, and make decisions. So digital and data fluency will become increasingly important, and many of you are naturals at this, but it's an ongoing field, as we all know, and it's reshaping every aspect of work. But here's the key, and I'm sure that you will have many conversations around the role of AI in your work and at school. Don't offload your creativity to AI. You want to use it as a tool to expand your thinking. Your judgment, your questions, and your ability to translate data into insights, that's what will add value for you as a professional. So learn how to work with data and really understand what it means. These are skills that will definitely help you stand out. This, above all, in insurance is a people business. So your relational intelligence and communication skills will be key. Your ability to build relationships with peers, mentors, experts, and clients will shape your success more than any one technical skill. In claims especially, as an example, emotions often come before the paperwork. If someone has lost their property, they may need to tell you the story before they're ready to talk the numbers. Listen well and show empathy, and this can turn a difficult interaction into a moment of trust. So the best professionals don't just solve problems, they connect with people. Agility and continuous learning. So the workplace is changing quickly, and success today depends on your ability to adapt and learn continuously. Learning agility means you're not just adding knowledge, but learning how to learn. So you're doing a lot of that within your studies and internships, but this is an ongoing professional skill. It's how you deal with change, uncertainty, or situations that you've never faced before. In those circumstances, do you shut down or lean in and figure it out? This is where mindset comes in, the growth mindset. Think of this as the foundation under all your other skills. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities aren't fixed, that you can develop new skills over time. So when you approach your career this way, you take learning risks, you set stretch goals for yourself, you accept feedback, and you stay open to growth even when it's uncomfortable. So it's this mindset that makes continuous learning possible because you start to see every challenge as an opportunity to learn something new. So I want to dive into this piece around learning agility and continuous learning just a little bit further because it's something that will stay with you throughout your whole life and career. So what does learning agility look like in practice, and what do agile professionals do that others don't? So when we're talking about learning agility, we're talking about, again, how you learn how to learn, how you learn what to do in situations that are first time for you, so you've never faced them before. How do you figure out the plan of action? So here are 5 habits that you can start building today in your studies, at work, and throughout your career. The first is to stay curious and don't jump to the answer. Even if a claim, for example, or issue that you're dealing with looks familiar, Pause before reaching for a quick fix. Ask what's different this time and what don't I know yet. Curiosity helps you avoid defaulting to old solutions when a new one is needed. So look beyond the obvious and try to understand the root causes. What led to the situation? What factors are contributing now? So digging deeper helps you see the bigger picture and come up with better strategies. So this kind of curiosity and level of inquiry is definitely a hallmark of learning agile professionals. Of course, leverage what you know, but don't stop there. Think about how the current challenge compares to past experiences. What's similar or what's new? So patterns and pattern making is very helpful, but the ability to adapt them to new contexts is what makes you agile. Learn from others. No one grows in isolation, so look for input from managers, mentors, peers, or specialists. And asking for feedback or a second opinion isn't a weakness, it's actually a strategy. So agile professionals build a network of learning around them, and they always have people that they know that they can turn to for various different kinds of questions or issues that they may be dealing with. And being open to change, again, this is part of the growth mindset. Sometimes agility is just being willing to try something different. That might mean working with new technology, approaching a conversation in a new way, or being willing to take a risk, even if it's outside your comfort zone. So with support and a mindset geared toward growth, you'll be surprised at what you can do. So let this be a reminder. Learning agility isn't something that you're born with, it's something that you practice. And in a field like insurance, where every day can bring something new, it's one of the most valuable skills that you can build. So important to work on that appetite for uncertainty, variety, and experimenting with new things. It will definitely help you throughout your career. So let me turn now to talk about some practical steps that you can take now while you're studying. And I know some of you are interns, some of you are full-time academic enrolled. So while you're studying, here are some things that you can do to start building that foundation for a strong career. One is to sharpen your awareness of how the world works and why. Start noticing the risks and protections that are built into everyday life. So, for example, imagine that you're out at a nightclub or a bar. Some of you may frequent these kinds of locations. These are places with high alcohol sales. So what kind of risks are involved and what might make those kinds of businesses hard to insure? That kind of observational thinking builds intuition and learning agility, the two skills that will serve you well, as I've said. You don't need to obsess over every detail, but just stay curious and reflective about what's going on around you. And practice risk thinking in your own life. So an example of this would be to dive into your own insurance policies, auto, tenant, or home insurance. Do you know what coverage you have? Who your insurer is? Your deductible? Many people don't know this until they actually have to file a claim. So as a future professional, you'll need to walk clients through this. So start by understanding your own coverage. It's a simple hands-on way to build practical knowledge. And build your business sense alongside technical skills. Your courses will teach you and are teaching you on the technical side, especially around things like probabilities, statistics, and interconnected risks. But your part-time job or internship, which many of you are involved in, can teach you just as much if you pay attention. So what makes the business tick that you're working in? What challenges do the owners or managers face? Are sales up? Profits down? How does it all connect? These insights give context to the technical work that you're learning and set the foundation for sound business judgment. And do make the most of internships, part-time roles, and early work experiences. So try to get exposure to different roles to learn what you enjoy and what matters in the field. Use these opportunities to build more than friendships, develop real professional relationships. This is the time to plant those seeds. These connections help you learn how organizations operate and can open doors to future opportunities. So if you've graduated and you're out there working full-time, you're in your early career experiences, here are some suggestions to consider. One of them that I think, and certainly this is for many of the executives I spoke with, is to seek out big value experience early in your career. So the first 10 years of your full-time work experience are your biggest learning runway. So whether you're in a structured development program or rotating across departments in a smaller firm, the variety and depth of experience you get now will shape your future trajectory. So be intentional about the experience. Chase that and not just the title that you're getting. I often say that early in your career, the ideal job isn't necessarily the one that you enjoy the most, but it's the one where you grow the most. So figure out how you can learn the most, and then you're equipped to make a bigger difference later. Get comfortable with industry language and legal nuance. So go beyond the templates. Of course, they're essential and they're the guidelines that you need, but learn what the words really mean and why they're used. And you don't need to be a lawyer, but insurance and law overlap more than you might expect. So understanding this will give you an edge. Train your eye for how different businesses operate and where the risks lie. Especially in commercial lines, each client is unique. Think about a cattle ranch, a wine shop, or a taekwondo studio. What do they each need to protect? So let yourself be naturally inquisitive, and next time you walk down a street, ask what kind of risks are behind these storefronts. Balance technical skill with human connection. For example, as an underwriter, understanding a business on paper is just part of the job. But when you can, go beyond your desk and meet the broker or the client, or both together in person, and hear their concerns and ask smart questions. And that's what brings it all together. This early habit of connecting face-to-face and in person with people will strengthen both your communication skills and your technical judgment. And when it comes to that human connection, I can't overstate the relationships will shape your career more than you think. So who you talk to, learn from, and work with really does matter. So early on, consider who do you regularly meet with? Who do you go to for expertise? Are you staying within your close-knit group or reaching out to those in different roles or departments who can stretch your thinking? So it's really important early on as you're starting with an organization to start by building strong ties with your manager, of course, but your teammates and your mentor buddies, as there will be a number of them. And once you're comfortable within that group, go broader, get to know people across departments and the wider company when you have the opportunity, because each connection adds perspective and potential and gives you visibility as well. If you have an opportunity to join a cross-functional learning group in an organization, that's an ideal way to meet people from across different areas bringing different perspectives. It may be to study a particular issue, or it may be to share information based on the work that you're doing. In any event, be sure to participate and put your hand up to be part of that. There's another concept we're hearing a lot about in the workplace today, and that is the feeling of belonging and people wanting to feel that they belong and are part of a group. And your manager certainly has a big role to play in this, but you also have a big role to play. So reaching out when you can and knowing that your relationships are so important is also a key skill to develop over time. So let me shift now to how to remain relevant in a rapidly changing industry and what are some other elements or skills that you need to consider. One of them is the career impacts of remote and hybrid work. So while we know that a lot of companies are asking people to return to the office from a fully remote arrangement during the pandemic to hybrid or even full time in the office, we know that some forms of remote or hybrid work will probably remain with us. And I also know that a lot of the insurance roles, especially in actuarial work, a number of them are still fully remote. So that does have impacts for you from a career perspective and a skill development perspective. So the good news is that the flexibility that you get with remote or hybrid work is that it does support self-directed learning. It gives you more control over your time, but that means taking ownership of your own development. So especially early in your career, you may need to be more proactive in seeking feedback, guidance, and structure that you don't always necessarily get when working remotely. So sometimes the issue with this is that less visibility, as you would get if you were in the office full-time, it can limit career momentum. Without casual interactions, it's harder to share your progress or gain informal insights from leaders. So when you have the opportunity to be in the office in front of others, be strategic about showing up, whether that's during in-office days or virtual check-ins to build presence and relationships. With hybrid or remote work, fewer informal touch points, as I said, mean fewer chances to learn from others. So take full advantage of team sessions like peer reviews or file roundtables. These are gold mines for real learning, feedback, and visibility. And don't just show up, but really engage and share what you learn, and feel free to ask questions. And of course, online tools offer accessible skill building. So use digital platforms, training courses, and collaboration tools to actively build your knowledge and stay current. So your development is in your hands. And I think being able to work effectively in a remote or hybrid context is really a skill unto itself. And of course, most have just learned this from experience. People don't necessarily get training to do this. So it's a really key skill in order to be successful over the long term. Something else you might want to take a look at is consider a development plan. So if you're in a larger organization, it will probably have a lot of structure around how your development and progression will look. But I just want to give you this 3 elements of a great development plan, just so you have an idea of what that will look like. Development plans aren't just a step up a hierarchy or a career ladder. As you can see, it's about skills development and it's relationship building and industry knowledge, as I've been mentioning here. So to incorporate all of those in development includes these 3 components. So blending experiences, feedback, and learning are really the skills accelerator. This includes different kinds of experiences that offer exposure to various technical areas, different people, and ways of learning. So blending experiences would be focusing very much on learning how to use different templates, how to respond to client inquiries, doing different kinds of analysis, different kinds of experiences there, the feedback and the learning that comes from that. Second component in a development plan is technology-enabled learning, which will be part of every position and company that you go to. So many think this is what development is all about, is the formal learning that you get. But these resources and formal learning are really only one component of your overall development. And the third one is social and collaborative learning. Learning from others, cross-functional learning groups, and peer-to-peer mentoring and communities of practice are equally important. So what I'm saying about all of this is that if all of these kinds of things are happening in your daily flow of work, that's absolutely optimal. But there may be times when you find that you're very task-oriented, if you got your head down, you're just trying to get through the volume of work that you've got. And at some point, it's great to get your head up and take a look at these 3 elements within a development plan and say, am I progressing and using these kinds of resources and getting these kinds of experiences that will ensure my long-term success? So learning definitely happens best in the flow of work. So if no 2 days are the same, you're getting lots of variety, then you're definitely on the right track. And here's a few other things to consider around your skill development. It always does accelerate with variety of experience. So doing the same thing over and over and over again, it really does own your skill, but may not be all that developmental. So the variety of experience can include experience that taps into those essential skills of critical thinking and problem solving, data analysis, and so on. Development also accelerates with intensity of effort. So if you're working under deadlines or pushing through a significant volume of work, then intensity of effort can be developmental. More work piled on top of an already heavy load is not really developmental, but having to scale up under pressure can be very developmental. And diversity of settings. So that could include working in different areas like claims or underwriting, working in a brokerage as examples, or it could be working with different managers and working with different team leads. All of this can be developmental. And adversity of conditions. You know, we all want things to go smoothly, but there absolutely are times when we're up against a complex client situation or technical challenges or interpersonal dynamics that are challenging to work through. So some adversity definitely helps with skill development. And it's in these situations often that agility, the learning agility, beats ability. So the ability to think things through, to consider the possibilities in multi-layered ways, and to respond to change is really what's developmental here. Another area I just want to address here is upskilling, which is about building relevance and trust over the long term. So you may be hearing this term when you get to the workplace. Upskilling is really what organizations are focusing on as a key organizational strategy for developing their talent in order to keep pace with change and make sure that they're staying ahead of the curve. At some point, you may be even asked what your upskilling needs may be. So let me just give you some anchors here to understand around how upskilling in insurance will keep you relevant and respected in a rapidly changing industry. So one of these areas for upskilling is adapting with digital transformation. So as technology reshapes workflows, your value lies in combining tech fluency with human insight. So upskilling, as it's offered, will definitely help you stay ahead of the curve. Deepening product and client knowledge. So committing to grow both your technical expertise and your understanding of client needs, ethics, and evolving market dynamics. So really deepening that knowledge around the whole picture of what you're doing in the industry you're working in will definitely allow you to continue to build your relevance. Say yes to leadership development. If it's offered to you, even if you don't plan to manage people, leadership skills will boost your impact, confidence, and future opportunities, especially as seasoned professionals retire. And network with intention. Professional relationships are long-term assets, as I've been mentioning here. So get involved, show up, and stay curious. You never know where one conversation may lead. And I know that the industry has been great about social events, career fairs, industry opportunities for people to get together. And when you have the time, it's really important to stay a part of that and be connected within your industry. So to wrap up, take ownership of your growth, absolutely, and skill development right from the time that you're here in an internship and formal learning. Your career is a long game, so curiosity, learning, and relationships will take you further than any one job title. So explore broadly and build your depth over time. Early exposure to different roles helps you find your fit, and you'll only discover where you thrive by trying things out and sticking with something long enough at the same time to build real skills and reputation. So know your strengths and test them. Aptitude and interest aren't always the same. You may have an interest in one area of the industry, but really you may have a lot of strengths in another. So stay open to new experiences to see where you shine. Ask, learn, and lean in. So don't wait for someone to hand you development opportunities. Sometimes in the workplace, we see something that needs to be done and we might have the bandwidth to work on it or to solve a problem. So put your hand up if that's the case and ask to be involved, because often the best growth comes from projects that nobody else has time for. And once again, build your network inside and out, within your organizations and outside with other professionals in other areas. Your connections will shape your career, so make time to meet others, join groups, your student associations, other industry groups, and stay involved in your professional community. And in looking for opportunities, do look beyond the big names. MGAs, or managing general agents, and smaller firms can offer more agility, innovation, and career runway. The industry is evolving, and so are the opportunities. So the workplace will keep changing, but the need for skilled, thoughtful professionals won't. Insurance remains a stable, essential industry, one that's adapting and innovating in ways that create real opportunity. With curiosity, commitment, and the right mindset, you can grow a career that's not just secure, but meaningful and exciting. It's been a real pleasure spending this time with you and preparing to speak with you. I encourage you to take even one small action from what I've presented here today, because it can make a big difference over time. And if you'd like to stay in touch or continue the conversation, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And I wish you all the best as you move forward in your careers. And I'm open to some Q&A, I think, Maya.
Yes, thank you for a wonderful presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to add your questions to the chat. Yes, go ahead, Ash.
Hi, thank you, Maya. Maybe I'll start it, then someone will feel like they want to ask a question as well. Thank you, Doris, for presenting. I have a question that I actually have been asking many people in the insurance industry. And my name is Ed Furman, by the way.
Hi, Ed. Yeah.
I think we met on LinkedIn.
Right.
So I have been asking lots of people in the industry, in the insurance industry, that same question, but I have really not had lots of opportunities to ask talent people. So maybe I'll use this opportunity. Many of the things that you presented about for talent equally apply to other industries, not just insurance.
Absolutely.
But insurance in Canada is somewhat unique in the sense that, so you mentioned, for example, analytical skills that someone would learn during, let's say, their risk management courses. Now, in Canada, at universities, we do not really have many, right? So for actuaries, for instance, we have, of course, well-defined academic programs at many universities. Just in Ontario, we have lots of them, pretty much at every single university. But for general, and most of the time you were talking about underwriters, claim adjusters, risk managers, you mentioned law, and etc. This is the majority in insurance, right? We do
Yes.
not have academic programs.
Right.
Do you have a guess why?
I don't know why that is. I mean, it certainly has been, because I certainly have asked also a lot of people around that. I think the barrier to entry in the industry way back when was very low, actually. The people could come in and start in operations or administrative roles and learn the business, from others and slowly get their certificates. And, that's, the degree credentials behind it haven't been as important. But all of that is becoming much more important now today and absolutely essential. I mean, it's often a requirement for many roles in insurance today. So, the business degrees, the commerce degrees, other related, frankly, even a degree in sociology or something like that for somebody who's also really analytical, can be ideal. So that university education is even more important than it has been, and why the other pathways outside of actuary haven't developed that too strongly. I'm not sure what that is really about. And you're right. I mean, everybody I've talked to about this as well says, it's just really, it's so experience based. I guess that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no clear answer on that one.
But you say that you have been observing that let's say job posts
Yeah.
Require more and more often bachelor's degrees or university degrees.
Absolutely, because these organizations need people who can learn how to learn and learn how to analyze things and can see the broad picture of situations, of people, of events, and can see all of that interconnectedness. And a lot of that does come from that kind of university or college education and the various courses that they take. That's very much the foundation for all of that. Yeah.
I see. So a follow-up question. So you see, this is a big problem in my opinion, and this is sort of a chicken and egg problem, because if you don't have a major at a university to really take, then you're not interested in this discipline, right? So for example, if I come to say York, right, and there's no bachelor's in risk management and insurance, well, I'll not think about risk management and insurance as a career, right? I just don't see it.
Right.
And at the same time, the industry sort of needs risk management and insurance degrees. This is what they say, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like the industry really wants to do anything with changing it in Canada, right? Or at least it doesn't really look like they are super keen on hiring fresh undergrads. I think you also mentioned that for fresh undergrads, there's a problem a bit, right? So the industry prefers to see more experienced people.
Well, and I would say not necessarily so.
No?
I think that many of these firms want people to come in and do their internal development and internship program that they have structured, because then they can show these people how they do it at that particular company, and that company's philosophy and values will inform how this person learns. So I think their preference is to hire somebody who's at least got the foundations, the college or university education, and an interest in it, and come in and take their particular development program. So I think that's where the industry has developed its expertise. It's very unique to that one particular organization.
I see. So you say they actually have in-house programs.
Absolutely, they do. Very much so. Yeah.
Then maybe I'll reconnect with you offline to
Sure.
more about that, because I do know, for example, of these programs for actuarial science, right?
Right.
These are abundant.
Yeah.
For insurance, more generally, I'm not aware of many. But yeah, thank you. Well, I have some more questions, but I'll maybe see you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Hi, I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm Monica Tavasumamrin. I am doing my master's in New York in economics. So I'm an international student and really a big um, industry back where I come from in Bangladesh. So like I said, I have very minimal idea about the insurance, um, especially from coming from economics, and I am interested in this sector, and especially where analytics degree prepared me for, and analytical skills is something that I have. Uh, if companies really want experience or want to see if you're analytical, how do I really translate that into my CV where I'm a fresh graduate? Right after I get, how do I really tell them or show them that yes, I have this skill set and I will be someone who you would want to take and probably enroll me into your professional development program so that I can succeed and be a part of your company.
Right. So part of, I think, getting the answers to those questions, like I would strongly encourage you to go to the career fairs because the insurance industry absolutely holds career fairs, as do individual companies. And that's where you can find that out. And some of them have their own way of evaluating analytical skills. So they may give you, a demonstration or ask, not just questions in an interview, but they'll, maybe give you a particular problem to solve. Not that you have all the answers or even can apply anything about insurance to the problem, but they're just really looking for how you analyze it and think about it. So they'll have ways of determining that in their actual interview process. I think your opportunity in terms of what you need to do is probably really, that's why the networking and getting out to industry events and talking to employers and going to career fairs is really, really important so that you make those connections so that you're actually talking to people and can get your name in front of them versus just applying online, for example. I think that's really, really important so people have a chance to talk to you. And to demonstrate that analytical skill, I mean, you can bring forward examples from some of your assignments that you've done, or if you've done an internship, or if you have other part-time work experience, that you can talk about how your analytical skills have helped you in those kinds of scenarios. So it may not be insurance related directly, but it's certainly transferable.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Anyone else? Please feel free to put your question in the chat if you don't want to speak up. All right, I guess we don't have any other questions. To our audience, please feel free to connect with Doris on her LinkedIn. If you have any questions, you can reach out to her there. Thank you so much for joining us to the RISC Industry Colloquia today, and we hope to see you again for the next Colloquia.